Say hi, Gracie. You are staring right at me while I am about to make a podcast. There goes the nubbin. It's wagging. Oh, do you want something? Do you want the color blue? Do you want a greenie? Okay, I'll get you a greenie and then I'm going to make this podcast, all right? Good morning and welcome to the Knit Shift episode 33. My name is Laura and today is Thursday, November 19th, 2015, aka 1 week from Thanksgiving if you are in America. If you are new here, you just met my dog Gracie for the first time. She is a 10-year-old Cocker Spaniel. Every week as I record, it's around the time of day where she gets said treat that you just heard about. I can't even say the color name as you just saw, without her flipping out. So every morning around this time is when she gets this treat, and it's around the time I record the podcast each week. So as I'm gathering my possessions and getting set up here in my living room, she stands here and stares at me, and literally her face will not move. She just stands there and stares at me and gives me those eyes until I relent. So I decided to turn the camera on for that and show you a bit of my morning routine with her. So anyway, if you are new here, welcome to the Knit Shift. Like I said, I'm Laura. I'm a journalist in Southeast Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. I work evenings, hence the name of the podcast, the Knit Shift, the night shift. That's what I was going for. It's me and my boyfriend and Gracie and a lot of yarn. That's basically my life. So, and if you are coming back here, you know all of this. So thank you very much for spending a little bit more of your time with me. I can be found on the web at thenitshift.com. That's where I post show notes and you can find the episode. I'm on YouTube, I'm on iTunes, and we have a Ravelry group for the podcast called The Knit Shift, which I just checked, it just reached 200 members, which is really exciting because that's a big number and I like round even numbers. So very cool. And I think I'm almost at 400 subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy to me. I can't believe it. So thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because that way you'll know when you'll have a queue of episodes, and that will show you when I'm about to post an episode, or that'll show you when I have posted an episode. So I can be found also on Instagram as Laura Mahalski, and I am on Ravelry as Yarnstormer. So please friend me on both of those. Follow me, friend me, whatever the terminology is. Look me up on both of those apps. So that's it for the podcast business. I'm hoping to keep a regular schedule throughout the holidays. I might miss a week here or there because of some trips I'm taking. I'm going to Pennsylvania for my brother's graduation from Penn State, which is my alma mater. He's earned his master's through their world campus, which I'm very proud of, because he started it at a very difficult time and he stuck with it and is graduating with a crazy complicated degree. So I'm very proud of him. So that'll be my time with my immediate family around the holidays, is we're all going to converge in the middle of Pennsylvania and go to his graduation. But really, for my brother, I think the most important thing we're doing that weekend is going to see Star Wars, because it's the same weekend. He already bought us tickets, forwarded us the email and said, here's your Christmas present, Merry Christmas. So that's really the priority that weekend, I'm pretty sure. And my boyfriend we're all excited to see Star Wars, but I think my brother and my boyfriend especially, since they grew up with those. So that's one thing I have coming up. And I am going to be going to Texas for a few days in 3 weeks. So that has popped up kind of out of nowhere, but I'm going to be there very briefly to see some people, and then I'll be back home again. So my schedule might be a little thrown off. I'll have a better feel for it in the next week or two. So, and of course next week is Thanksgiving, so I do plan on recording. It just might be a little delayed. So I'll talk more about Thanksgiving later on in the episode. So let's see, what do I have to talk about today? I'm going to draw for the winner of the Esther Bell shawl pattern, which was a giveaway very generously donated by Emily of Fibertown Designs. So thank you, Emily, and I'll do that in a minute. I have a wee bit of stash enhancement, and I want to talk about a new knit along to go on for the next five weeks or so, through the end of the year. It's crazy to believe that 2015 is practically over. I started this year I'm kind of marking the passage of time by when I started this podcast, and I started it in late March, and it's almost the end of the year already, which is just unbelievable to me. So but we'll talk more about year recaps later on. So let's get to it. I'm going to draw for the winner of the Esther Bell shawl. I posted a prompt in our Ravelry group, and I asked people. Emily, the designer, named the pattern for her great grandma and talked on her podcast, which is a great podcast, Fibertown. I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, Emily talked on her podcast about why she named it after her great grandma. So I decided to ask the question, who inspires you? It could be knitting, it could be not knitting. Totally open-ended question. And there were some really amazing answers. You guys really came out and had some nice things to say, and it was very heartwarming. So thank you for playing along. So we had 15 entries. So I'm going to put in number 2 through number 16 in the random number generator, and that will tell us the winner because I was post number 1. So let's see. 2, 16. Oh, the winner is post number 16. Let's see if it can focus on that. And that was Sarah Nova, Jessica, who also has a podcast. So congrats, Jessica. When you see this, send me a message on Ravelry, and I will hook you up with Emily, and you have won a copy of it. So congrats. So, what is next on my list to talk about? I have no finished objects this week, unfortunately. I'm very close on a pair of socks, but we'll save that. So we'll save that for next week. Maybe I'll finish them by then. This is a week where I've had a lot of it feels like a lot. I'm not someone who casts on a lot of projects in the spur of the moment. I prefer to focus on a handful of projects at a time because I like to see progress. So the only way I see progress is if I stick with just a few things. So I'm not prone to casting on multiple things, but there's always an exception to the rule. And this week I cast on 2 new projects. So I'm going to show you the newest of the new first. With the trip to Texas, I am making a pair of fingerless mitts for someone I will be seeing there. So I'm leaving in 20 days. I had 3 weeks to make these, so I knew that sock yarn, which is the bulk of my stash, wasn't going to cut it. So I decided to hold the yarn double, and I am almost done with the first mitt already. So this is the Easy Fingerless Mitts by Stacy Perry, aka Very Pink. I almost wanted to call her Katy Perry with a name like Stacy Perry. Stacy Perry, aka Very Pink, is her Ravelry shop name. And it calls for worsted weight yarn, and I am holding Malabrigo sock double. So I will try this on so you can see what it looks like. I'm making this with some modifications. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Move the needles out of the way so you can better see it. This is Malabrigo sock in the colorway Solis, and I'm holding it double, and I'm knitting this on a US 7. And I have just started the ribbing for the hands, and I think I will probably go to about here. I want to leave some finger exposed. So the recipient of these mitts is frequently cold and has arthritis, and I decided that this would be a nice gift for this person. So I'm really liking how these are knitting up. The yarn held double is really squishy, and it's this beautiful shade of green. If you have been watching this podcast for a little while, you will recognize this yarn as the yarn I knit 2 baby vests out of. I knit 2 baby vests. The pattern was Milo Bambino, and I knit them for my cousin's wife who had twin boys. And they haven't worn the vests yet, but I got a thank you card in the mail yesterday from her for the vests, and she included a really sweet photo of the babies. And their names are Luke and Liam, and they were actually in the photo. My mom's a quilter, and she made quilts for the babies, and they were Dr. Seuss themed, and they were Thing 1 and Thing 2. And the babies are on the quilt in the photo, which is very, very sweet. So maybe I'll show that in another episode. So anyway, I got off topic, but these, bring my computer back up here. So I knit this in about 3 days. It's a free pattern, very, very simple. Like I said, I did modify it a bit. The pattern, I knit more ribbing than was called for, and I knit more stockinette than was called for, because the pattern, they barely cover the wrists. They're really short, and I wanted to have some length on the forearm. So I have my yarn in my cakes, and I feel very good about what I have left. I don't think I'll run out. Famous last words. So, and there's dog hair on this one, sorry. So, sorry, my phone's going off. I'm texting some of my friends, some of my knitty friends, about going to the Dixie Chicks concert. They just announced a tour a few days ago, and my friends and I are plotting to go, and we are texting because the tickets go on sale in 48 hours. So, pardon, I just turned the ringer off, so you won't hear beeping again. So yes, this is my first project to show you, and I am carrying this in my the Knot House bag, which is a yarn shop in, is it Frederick, Maryland? I think it's in Frederick. But it's a very nice yarn shop. I went there after Maryland Sheep and Wool this year with my buddies Kate and Amanda. So that's the first thing I have to show you, and the other thing I have to show you is another new cast on. So, I have, I think I spoke last week about how I wanted to cast on a pair of Christmas socks, and that's what I did this week. So, I cast these on Saturday? It was soon after I filmed the podcast last week. And I knit on these on Sunday. I drove to Richmond for the day and had lunch with a friend, and we hung out at Starbucks and knit for a little while after we had lunch. So this is where I made the progress on these. Pardon me. So here are my Christmas socks. And your eyes do not deceive you. This sock is a bit darker than this sock. I can even flip them around. I have a light right here. So even though the sock is getting more light, you can see that there is a bit more brown on that toe. And this yarn is Gershubi Fiber Arts, which I thought I had the tag around here, but no, I don't see it. It's Gershubi Fiber Arts in her Solfege sock base, and the colorway is called Sophie's Garden. And so it's not, I don't know the reference to Sophie's Garden, but I don't know that it's a Christmas themed sock, but it certainly is Christmassy colors. It's creams and reds, kind of a coral red, and a bit of green. So it's really lovely. And some brown. So I'm really enjoying knitting this. It's very, very soft, and I'm knitting these on US 1.5. So I probably could have gone down to a 1, but I'm really enjoying the fabric I'm getting on these, so I can live with that. Come on, you can focus, little camera. Maybe it's being finicky today. Anyway, I've kind of put these socks in timeout while I finish the mitts for before my trip to Texas. So I would ideally like to wash those and block them before I go. I'd hate to give them as a gift and have not washed them. Hi, Gracie, are you back? Do you want to come up? I can scooch over for you. Hi, come on up. Yes, hello. Hi, no, you may not have. I have some candy over there to show you later in my stash enhancement. Sure, this isn't awkward at all. Okay. All right, come on. You gotta come on, scooch, scooch. Sorry, guys. So, at least she's only 25 pounds. She could be a lot bigger of a lap dog, and think she's a lap dog, but she is, there, that's a good girl. So she's lying down beside me now. Gracie went to the vet this week and she's 10 and she got a clean bill of health, and she's had some dental problems in the past, but I think also the vet who treated her in the past year or two is a bit aggressive about teeth things. So she had 8 teeth pulled last year, and Josh and I, my boyfriend and I, have been really good about brushing her teeth every day. He is better than I am, and she's more, for some reason, she's more willing to put up with it when he does it versus when I do it. So all that teeth brushing has paid off because the vet this week said she did not need her teeth cleaned. Huh. You're such a good girl. Yeah. You're gonna fall asleep? She's yawning beside me. Let's see if I can tilt the camera. There she is. All snuggled up. This is one of those chairs and a half. It's an extra wide chair, and it's a little too small for 2 adults, but it is the perfect size for me and Gracie to cuddle up on. So anyway, I got off topic. Let's see, where was I? So yes, I showed you my 2 new works in progress, and that's what I'm going to show you for On the Needles this week. And for future knitting, I'm feeling a little bit of a time crunch because I would like to finish my Christmas socks before Christmas. And I'm not doing any Christmas knitting this year, but when I FaceTimed with my parents recently, my dad said, I really do love your hand knit socks, so I'm feeling the urge to cast on a pair for him. So I'll be seeing him, oh my gosh, in 28 days or something like that. There's no way I can finish fingerless mitts, socks for myself, and socks for my dad in the next few weeks. It's just not going to happen. So I think I'm going to have to save the socks I have dog fur on my face. I'm going to have to save socks for my dad as a birthday present in May. So we'll see. So on to the yarms. And if you're new here, yarms is what I call my stash enhancement segment because I'm weird. So my first bit of stash enhancement, this is my only stash enhancement. I watched the Love Sock Wool podcast, and Sarah's sock knitting, her aggressive sock knitting and frequent sock knitting blows my mind. She has so many socks going at any given time. It's unbelievable. And she shared a photo of this Cascade Heritage Prince. And I love Cascade sock yarn. It is super soft, it's reasonably priced, and it's very, very sturdy. She shared a photo of this, and I had to buy it. And I was going to buy it online, and then I remembered that my local yarn store carries Cascade Heritage Prints. And so I went there, and they had one left. So it was fate. So this is the Cascade Yarns Heritage Prints 75/25 superwash merino nylon, and I believe the colorway is Holiday. So it's a self-striping, self-patterning yarn, and here is what it will look like. Hope that shows up okay. There we go. So that's my only stash enhancement, and I also received a swap package this week from a swap I was participating in. Kemper at the Junk Yarn podcast organized a mini swap, and I had never participated in one, and I thought, no time like the present. So I signed up, and I was matched with someone, and I got her package, and she got my package this week. So first up, I will show you the snacky goodies. Well, this isn't a snack, but this is a lovely Shea Cashmere hand cream. True Blue Mini. I don't know, I guess True Blue is the brand, but it smells delightful and it's very, very luxurious and soft. And she's in Canada, so she sent me some Coffee Crisp, which is very exciting. I like Coffee Crisp. I don't drink coffee, but I could certainly have this with tea. And she sent me, speaking of tea, nice segue. Oh, Gracie is sniffing the tea. She sent me some tea bags. Pardon the crinkling from the bag. I got some chai spice black tea from the appropriately named Stash Premium. And she sent me some President's Choice Raspberry Thriller. And some ginger peach, which it's like she read my mind. I love ginger peach tea so much. And they smell really great and I cannot wait to use them. I've resisted. I've waited to cast these on because of the knowing I would be filming. And of course, oh, and there was a very nice card. And of course, she sent me minis and she sent me quite a few of them. And I haven't gone through these yet, so this is very exciting. Hi, Grace. Do you want to help me go through the yarns? You're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. And I haven't gone through these yet. I've saved them for the podcast. So I got Super Sparkle. Oh, wait, here we go. Pandia's Jewels hand-dyed yarn and fiber in the color Super Sparkle Razzle Dazzle. Oh, I really like that. And this feels like silk too. Hedgehog Fiber Sock Opalite. Thank you so much. I wish this would focus better. There we go. And it's really soft. Pale blues and pinks and purples. Really, really lovely. Boy, Hedgehog is so soft. There is Misty Alpaca Hand Paint Sock in Pinot Noir. This is so soft. This is, I can't tell from the writing, Harks and Cattons, Alpaca Silk. I'm afraid I can't read the writing, but it's a cream color and it's super silky. And I think this might be my favorite. This is Barocco Socks in the colorway Aylesbury. Lovely greens and blues. I'm a sucker for greens and blues. And I had told her that I already had a lot of green and blue in my blanket, and she sent me a lot of reds and pinks. Here's Hedgehog Sock in Truffle. Handmaiden Fine Yarn Sea Silk in Blackberry. Oh my gosh, this is so soft. She really sent me some really luxurious yarns, you guys. And last but not least, Coolry Merino Silk in Rouge Maroon. Really, really nice stuff. So, thank you, Emma, for my lovely swap. Put these all back, and I'm really eager. I feel like the mitered square blanket is the perfect Christmas holiday cozy knitting. I said cozy. I talked a few episodes ago about how I don't care for the term cozy memories, and every time I use the word cozy now, I am hyper aware of it. Anyway, so that is it for my yarns, and then there were just a couple things I wanted to talk to you about in odds and ends. I'm a little behind on this. I meant to share this with you for 2 or 3 weeks on the podcast, but I kept forgetting. A lot of knitters know Stephen West, the designer, and he has a YouTube channel, and he created a music video for his new knit-along for a pattern called The Doodler, and he set it to the song Firework by Katy Perry, and I've watched it 3 times, and I need to watch it about 5 more because it's so amazing. I really cannot recommend it enough. So if you look up Stephen West on YouTube, and I believe it's Stephen with a PH. Yes, Stephen with a PH. Look it up. You will not be disappointed. Next up, breaking news. Laura alert. Knit Picks has speckled sock yarn. I ordered some yesterday. I have no regrets. It's beautiful. They have had low stock occasionally, so if you see this and you want some, go over and buy it right now. Please. They've got 4 colorways, and I believe it's $10.99 a skein. And because I couldn't just buy a skein of it, I was like, well, I there's been some stuff I've been thinking about buying, like yarn for a colorwork hat. I threw enough in to get free shipping. Oops. So go check that out. And finally, next week is Thanksgiving, and I won't be recording again until probably Thanksgiving is over. So I wanted to tell you about my plans for Thanksgiving. A lot of people travel, and I have traveled in the past. It's hard for me to get off work at the newspaper because a lot of people want to be off, and I've had my fair share of taking the holiday off. So I'm staying put this year. I'm making dinner for Josh and me, and my menu is I got a 3-pound turkey breast, which seems about right for 2 people. I don't need a big turkey. I'm making stuffing, my grandma's stuffing recipe, and I'm making gravy, obviously, and I'm making the New York Times mac and cheese recipe, and I'm making roasted broccoli, which is Josh's favorite vegetable, and I have to make green bean casserole because that's my favorite holiday meal. And you'll notice I had no mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes, and I'm feeling a little antsy about that, but for 2 people, that is a lot of food. That's turkey and 4 sides. That's a lot, plus gravy. And I think, I haven't decided yet, if time allows it today, I'm going to make a test batch of the mac and cheese and bring it into work for my coworkers to enjoy, because I'm a little apprehensive about trying a recipe I've never made before, and what if it's not good and then we don't have a carb on Thanksgiving? What is the world coming to? I mean, stuffing's a carb, but you know what I mean. I want something heavy like potatoes or mac and cheese, so I might test. I have the fixins to make the mac and cheese. I might just go do it right now before work. It takes a little while, so we'll see. But if it works out, I will share a link to the mac and cheese recipe. But if you Google New York Times macaroni and cheese, you'll find it. So I'm really excited. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I'm sad that I'm not spending it with my family because it really is my favorite. I mean, I love my mom. When my mom is one of 10, and my grandparents hosted Thanksgiving for a long time until they moved to an apartment building, and they did for, it was just too much for my grandma at a certain point. So my grandma would come and spend the night at our house when I was younger, and she would usually get my room, which was always exciting because then I could go sleep on the couch or in my brother's bunk bed. And we would get up really early and get the turkey in the oven, and then we would make the stuffing, and I always loved when the butter and the celery and the carrots and the onion, or not carrots, the celery and onion got cooking on the stove for the stuffing, and it was just so delicious, and I would help them with the stuffing and mixing it up, and I always like to eat a little bit of the breadcrumbs before it went in the oven. It's so good, so good. So I just have very fond memories of Thanksgiving, and I did get to have Thanksgiving last year with family, which was very great because my brother had gotten home from a military deployment a few months earlier, well, much earlier, but it was his first Thanksgiving back since he had deployed. So my grandma even came all the way from Pittsburgh. She came out to Ohio. She's 93, and she got to come too, which was great. So yeah, that's it. So I love Thanksgiving, and I'm really excited to cook a little dinner for Josh and me. Oh, and dessert. I didn't tell you guys about dessert. I am planning on making a chocolate pie with an Oreo crust, store-bought Oreo crust, because I am lazy, and that is easy. And I'm thinking I'm also going to make apple dumplings. There's been a recipe floating around that involves Granny Smith's crescent roll mix and Sprite. So I will report back on if there's a lot of recipes floating around, so I feel like it has to be good. So I'll report back next week on how it went. On that note, I think it's time for me to wrap this up and see about making this mac and cheese. So thank you for watching. I will see you next week. And if you are celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful, filling, enjoyable Thanksgiving with plenty of knitting time too. Take care. Bye.